One of the fastest ways to make a modern table stall is to remove the skill list. I've seen this myself. Gary Kahn back in 2019, I guess, ran a table for 5e players that, well, they thought they were getting 5e. They got Swords and Wizardry, and while some adjusted, some just couldn't get out of the idea that there were no skills to rely upon. So, before I delve into this is going to be a collab with Joe Block, the Greyhawk Grognard, and Joe D, Joe the Lawyer. Their channels will be listed below. So, the second the player says, I search the room, somebody wants to know what to roll, right? That's the modern gaming thing. Again, I told you, I experienced it. Perception, investigation, insight, detect law, whatever. An old school D&D does throw people off here because a lot of the time the answer is maybe you don't roll anything. And that sounds wrong at first, maybe even sloppy. Like we took a tool and replaced it with pure GM whim. That is not what early D&D was doing. Old D&D did not assume every action needed a button on the sheet. It assumed players would say what they were actually doing. And the referee would judge the situation based on the room, the tools, the risk, and the pressure. And that is the shift. Not no skill, not no competent, and not just the GM making shit up. That's not it. The shift is that the answer is usually in the situation before it is on the character sheet. That is why old school D&D could work without long skill lists, and it is also why newer GMs sometimes get twisted up trying to run it. They take away the skill checks, but they do not replace them with a procedure. So I'm going to give you a practical tool. When a player wants to do something, do not start with a roll. Start with 3 questions. First, what are you actually doing? Not what is your goal. What is your approach? This is a real difference between I search the chest for traps and I use my dagger to lift the latch, check the hinges, and look underneath for holes or wires. One is a category, the other is play. Second, what in the situation makes this easy, hard, risky, or impossible? And that means the room matters, the light matters, the floor matters, the tools matter, time matters, pressure matters. If the player has a lantern, a mirror, a 10-foot pole, and enough sense to stand off to the side when opening the chest, that changes things. If goblins are 2 rooms away and the party has already burned half an hour poking around, well, that changes things too. And of course, the third question is the outcome already obvious? If the approach would work, let it work. If it obviously would not work, say so. If the result is uncertain and there is real pressure or risk, then maybe you need a roll. But now the roll actually means something, and that is the part that people miss. In old school play, the roll is not there to replace thought. It is there to resolve uncertainty after the table has already engaged the fiction. So the basic referee flow is actually quite simple. Ask what they do, look at the situation, and then decide. Could be an automatic success, automatic failure, or uncertain result under pressure. That is your core procedure. And this is where tables tend to go wrong in both directions. I'll explain. Bad version, number 1. It's calling for a roll every time a player opens their mouth. I check the statue. Roll. I listen at the door. Roll. I look at the floor. roll. That turns the dungeon into, I don't know, a Pez-Dispenser of skills. We don't want that. Bad version number 2 is the opposite. The GM says there are no skill checks, but now players have to read the GM's mind. They describe 5 different things, miss the magic phrase, and get punished for not guessing the exact wording living in a referee's head. That is not good either. The fair version is somewhere right in the middle. You describe the environment clearly enough that players can work with it. They tell you what they do. Smart play gets rewarded. Vague play costs time. Risky play brings consequences, and the die comes out only when the outcome is really in doubt. That is procedure. That is not win. Now, yes, coming out from the BX point of view, BX has thief abilities, right? Open locks, find or remove traps, shear noise, climb sheer surfaces, hide in shadows, stuff like that. Those are real. And that's not the same thing as a universal skill list. Those are narrow class features, not a giant menu for everybody. They cover specialty situations where the thief has a distinct edge, especially when the task goes beyond ordinary caution and ordinary interaction. But everybody can examine a chest, right? Everybody can tap stones with the pole. You don't need a special skill for that. Everyone can listen at a door. Everyone can question a prisoner. Everybody can look for blood trails, scrape marks, fresh dust, loose mortar. The thief steps in when the problem gets specialized, subtle, or mechanically dangerous in a way normal caution alone does not cleanly solve. So, no, thief skills are not a contradiction. They are a narrow exception, and they're not the whole engine. I'll give you an example. The party enters a room with a stone idol, an altar, and a copper chest tucked behind it. Modern play says, I roll investigation. Old school play says, what are you checking and how? Player 1 says, I'm walking over and I open the chest. That's fast. It may also be dumb. But player 2 says, whoa, hold on. I shine a lantern at the floor around the chest, and I'm looking for scrape marks, and I use the pole to touch the lid before anybody puts hands on it. That is a really different play. If you know the trap is a poison needle in the latch, and the player says they are closely checking the latch before touching it, you may not need a roll at all. They found the danger because they interacted with the object in a smart way. If they just say, I search for traps, and maybe that costs a full turn and gives them a fair chance to notice something odd, and maybe there is still uncertainty, fine. But now the uncertainty is attached to an actual approach, not a blink button press. And even when they do not fully solve it, failure does not have to mean nothing happened. Maybe they notice green residue near the latch. Maybe they hear a tiny click when the lid shifts. Maybe their caution avoids the worst outcome, even if they do not completely beat the trap. And that's another thing a skill heavy play can flatten out, all right? Old school adjudication gives you more room for warning signs, partial information, and trade offs. Now, a second example, because this is where the GM tool really starts to click. A player says, I climbed that whetstone wall. Now, do you roll? Not automatically. If they have rope spikes, time, and no pressure, maybe they climb it. Maybe it just takes a turn and it makes noise as they pound the spikes in and take precautions. Maybe the real cost is not can they do it, but what happens while they're doing it. And that is an old school way of thinking. Time is a mechanic. Noise is a mechanic. Exposure is a mechanic, and wandering monsters are a mechanic. You do not need a skill check every time. You can charge a cost instead. But if that same wall has to be climbed in the dark while arrows are coming in from above and a ledge is slick with slime, then yes, uncertainty matters. Now a roll may be needed there because failure has teeth, or maybe only the thief has a chance to climb it. This is the habit I want GMs to build. Do not ask what skill covers this. Ask what is the player doing and what does the situation say about it. So that one shift does a lot. It gets players looking at the roll again. It gets them using their gear again. It makes the room matter and it makes caution matter. And it stops the sheet from swallowing the game. Now, do not use this as an excuse to be cute or obscure or even worse, adversarial. It is, if the only way to succeed is saying one magic sentence, like back in the days of Zork, God, I'm really showing my age, that is not good refereeing. The environment should give players something to work with. Clues matter, descriptions matter, consistency matters. The goal is not to trap players with wording. The goal is to let their choices in the world drive the result. And that is why old school D&D did not need giant skill lists. Because the play was happening in the conversation, in the environment, and in the consequences. The sheet still mattered. Stats still mattered. Class still mattered. But the first question usually was not, what bonus do you have? It was, how are you doing this? Honestly, I think that's still a dang good question. If you want the whole thing on an index card, here it is. Ask the approach, judge the situation, roll only when the outcome is uncertain and the risk is real. That's the engine. And once you start using it, a lot of old school play makes a whole lot more sense. Subscribe for more BX and OSR table tools like this. And if you are a channel member, your support allows for contents like this. Again, Joe the Lawyer and Joe Block, the Grey Hook Ragnard, have videos. You can get to their channels right below. They are covering the same topic. Look at their perspectives. And tell me in the comments, what is one action modern players reach for a skill roll on that works better when you handle it through description instead? Thank you, and God bless.